Hello YouTube. I wanted to do a quick walkthrough of a project I've been working on for the last couple of months. I've been playing around with fishing kayaks for a while and ended up putting a small trolling motor on my previous kayak. But I wanted to take it a step further and build the motor into the kayak a little bit more, make it easier to use. So I bought a used kayak, which is almost new. It's a Nucanoe Unlimited 12-foot kayak. And this kayak was perfect for installing the trolling motor in a more permanent way where you can control it from up here instead of using the stick. This is not made up of a lot of original ideas, but a lot of pieces that I've pulled from different videos that I've seen on YouTube. So hopefully it'll give you, it might help somebody out that's just thinking through what they want to do. What we have here is a Minn Kota 30-pound. I've got face tracking on, so trying to see if this is going to work. Face tracking, hello. Oh man, it's not working. Shit. So this is a Nucanoe Unlimited. It's about 12 feet long. It's got a nice padded floor and drains in the floor and tracks all over the place. So I really like it. It's very wide, very stable, easy to stand up on. It's 42 inches wide. So the motor is mounted on the transom. So I've also got the landing gear installed right now. I might pull that off so we can see a little better on the back, but here's the motor setup, and I'll explain everything in detail here. So this is the way I mounted the controller box. Basically, with Nucanoe, you get a swivel seat. They all have a swivel seat, which is great. And then there's a optional add-on tray that you can bolt to the side, so I got that as well. It has some tracks and things like that. But when it came time to mount this box, it seemed like the best way to go was right on this tray. That way it's always right where you want it, to your right there. So you kind of lose the functionality of the tray, but you know, you have it in a great position there. So right now I've got my 100 amp hour LifePo 4 battery just sitting right here. When I use it, I'll probably attach it to these points here just to secure it. Could also put it in the box here, but anyway, so I mounted the box. Let me just walk through this real quick. This is a kind of an easy open box because I figure I'll need to get inside here every once in a while, and it also has the clear door so you can see what's going on inside. So this is the PWM. When I looked into these, you know, I watched hundreds of YouTube videos and tried to see what everyone's doing, and kind of stole a lot of good ideas. But the one common theme is that these things can burn up if they get too hot. So there's several models out there that don't have a built-in fan at all. And when you put that into a box like this and you don't ventilate the box, yes, you're waterproof, but you're also probably going to burn up your controller. So I was determined to put in some really good cooling on this box and really just make it splash proof, not waterproof, because I don't think I'm ever going to turn this kayak upside down. So this is the fan that comes with it. This is an add-on amp meter right here. It goes to this little box, and you can see you got voltage in amps there. Okay, this right here is a little stick-on thermometer, and it also has a humidity gauge here. So this way I can look at that top number and see how hot it is inside the box. So yeah, it's a hot day today, 96 right now, and I have not been running it. So to ventilate the box, I cut a couple of 2-inch holes on the side and put window screen over them and used a hot glue gun to attach the fans. So these are fans off Amazon that are just, I think, 2.5 inch, very small computer fans. And basically I was able to splice into the wiring to this fan and power all 3 fans at the same time. The nice thing about this is if you turn this speed controller on, the fans start running. It's hard to see probably, but that's running. They're all running. You can turn it on without the propeller turning on the lowest setting, but you can cool off the inside of the box if you need to. So if you've been running it hard and you stop, you can leave it in the on position. Now if I turn this up, then you'll see the propeller turning. So that was kind of unexpected and works really well. So on this side of the box you can see I've drilled some small holes along here to let air in, since these fans are pushing air out. So it's a good idea to have intake holes somewhere to allow air to come in to have the maximum flow. This is the directional switch, so it does nothing in the middle. This is forward, this is reverse. So basically you've got a couple of relays here that trigger forward and reverse, and swap the polarity to the motor. That's it. So when I was testing this out on the water last week, the maximum temperature inside the box got up to about 120. So that seems high, but apparently these electronics can handle that. So I'm happy with that. And it also cools off pretty quick when you turn the speed down a bit. So that was running full throttle, full speed. Also on this amp meter, at full speed it was running about 25 amps. And then this voltage number here is the voltage directly to the battery. This PWM is rated at 60 amps continuous and 100 amps max. So we're well below that with the 25 or so, 20 to 25 amp from the motor. So I think that's about it on this. You can see that I've got some pretty heavy gauge wiring going to the motor and to the battery. And I've got Anderson connectors here. So these are really nice connectors, and it takes a little while to figure out the best way to make the connections inside, but it works very well once you figure all that out. You can get Anderson connectors that are different colors that won't connect to connectors of other colors. In other words, I could put a gray one here and a red one here, and I would never be able to hook them up wrong. But I didn't do that because I want to be able to connect the battery directly to the motor in case this thing goes bad. So if that happens, you can connect it directly. It'll go to full speed right away, and you won't have any control over the speed, but at least you'll get home or get back to shore. So I put a B here for battery, motor to help keep that straight. And then I put a little 1/2 inch wire cover stuff over this. So let's talk about the motor. So on these, you've probably seen other videos. You take the head off the trolling motor and the handle as well, and you cut 2 wires and you're only left with 2, a red and a black. So you only need the red and the black. That's the way you just feed power to the motor. Here, there's different ways to do this, but I found one video that had a swivel. So these are Home Depot parts here, which is pretty nice, painted black. So I'll put some links to some of this in the description. This is also a Home Depot Lowe's kind of part, made to hang pipes, so works really well for this setup. Make sure and get a stainless steel hook here, and I think this is galvanized, so you're probably good there. So for steering, let me talk about that first. I've got this Amazon bracket here that I've added on, and then I've got paracord going through some of these loops here, going all the way to the front. Got it going through here as well, under the chair. And then I installed some sliding footrest. Basically, when you slide one forward, the other goes back and the motor turns. So it's foot steering. It's got some silicone spray grease on these tracks. It's also very adjustable because you can move this peg on the sliding track, or you can loosen this and move the whole track. Of course, you might have to change the length of your cord there, but it works fairly well. Allows you to steer with your feet so you can be fishing or whatever. The nice thing is, with these little stainless carabiners, you can disconnect them very easily, well, normally, and then when you're transporting the kayak, just clip them onto something close by. There we go. Now on this one, this is the lift mechanism. So let me start at the front here. So for the lift mechanism, the Nucanoe Unlimited has a built-in pulley here that comes from the factory. On this canoe, it wasn't used for anything. It was just here, and then it's got a stopper here that grabs the cord and holds it in place. So I added a handle here. I can pull on this handle. There we go, and the motor comes up. And then I can lock it into place here if I want the motor to stay up. So the way that works back here is the trolling motor has this metal little bracket here that has to be pushed in to tilt. So you need a way to unlock and then tilt the motor up. This is a 3D printed part that I printed on my printer. You can also buy them already printed, but if you look on thingiverse.com, you can find the files to print that. And then the cord goes up through here and then back down through these little loops again. So it works fairly well. I'm pretty happy with that. So if you get in shallow water, you can just pull the motor up real easily from the front. And I added this little rudder here. It's some cheap cutting board from Walmart. Makes it track a little straighter and act like a rudder. So to take this off, you just take these two carabiners off, and then this third one here. Make sure and get a small carabiner here so it fits through that eye right there. And then you just loosen your motor and take it off. Very simple. So with this setup, I've tested it once, and I'll put some video of the first test last week, and I'll put some video towards the end of this video so you can see it in action. I did have to extend these wires, so there are some connectors you can look for online that are really great. They're called waterproof butt connectors, I think. And basically they come in a kit, and you get several different sizes. Do I have those nearby? Let's see. Yeah, let's see. Here's what they look like. So I used some of these yellow ones here, but basically these connectors have solder in the middle. There we go. They have solder in the middle. Focus. They have solder in the middle, and then the yellow is sort of a glue that melts, and then the whole outside is heat shrink. So basically you hit this with a heat gun, and after a minute or so of heat, the solder melts and joins the two wires together, and the glue melts and makes a waterproof barrier, and then the whole outside clear package shrinks around the connection. So these are really great when you're doing this kind of work. So highly recommend these, and I'll put a link to some of this stuff in the description, of course. But anyway, I had to extend this wire from what was coming from the motor. Somewhere in here there's a connection. So this blue cord here is not used at the moment, but this is an anchor cord. So sometimes I'll connect an anchor onto this and be able to drop it from the front here, just kind of manual. The other thing I wanted to point out about this setup is this canoe is technically can be a two-seater canoe. So I've got another seat right there, and if I want to put that seat in, then this seat would probably slide back and I would need to move the foot pedals. So that's why I use the tracks here to mount everything, so that I can easily adjust the foot steering. And I could add another carabiner to shorten the cords or whatever. At some point I may upgrade this. I think for about 200 bucks there's an option to get a Newport 50-pound thrust motor, and that would probably, I'm guessing that would bring the top speed up to about 4.5, something like that. But for now it's quick enough, I think. The swivel seat with this setup, you can see that you have to be careful with the cords and the cables and the plugs. You wouldn't want to be out a long way from home and pull one of these and snag it and pull a wire out and lose your power. So you got to be a little careful there. Right now I can swivel about 90 degrees with this setup, which is good enough. Works out okay. All right, well, here we are in the water. Just a quick walkthrough of what's going on here. Doing it first time test drive, and it's working really well. That's the motor back there. I've installed some sliding footrest here connected to paracords that go to the back, and it works really well. Then my box is here, and it pivots with the seat. So you can see here, that's the speed control there. And with this switch I can go off or I can go backwards. There we go. So that's reverse. And then this is a thermometer that I installed, where you can see the temperature inside the box. Looks like it's getting up to about 113, something like that. Got the fan going here, and then 2 fans here, and some holes here to let air in. And this is an amp gauge here. So pretty happy with it so far. And it looks like top speed is about 3.5 miles an hour, according to my GPS on my watch. So pretty happy with that. Trying to stress test it a bit and run it on full speed for a while, see if I can get anything to overheat or fail. But yeah, very successful first outing.